Hello, children. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, and this is your English lesson. So I'm just going to go over to Shobi and open the English lesson up. So here today you have on Shobi a PowerPoint, a final task activity, and a worksheet. Okay, so the first activity that you're going to be doing today and what you're going to be learning about today in our lesson is you are going to be learning about precepts. So this is something we've already read about. We first found out what a precept is in the lessons that we did last week where we were reading and we met Mr. Brown. Okay, so Mr. Brown, if you recall, was the English teacher in Wonder. Okay, and today our lesson is going to be based around Mr. Brown and his idea of using precepts in his lesson. And they are used throughout the book. So we wanted you to understand what a precept is and to come up with your own precepts today. Okay, so by the end of the lesson, you'll understand what a precept is and why they're important in our novel Wonder. And you'll have created your own precept and explained its meaning to others. And you're going to, as a final part of the lesson, create a kindness letter to a friend relating to Mr. Brown's first precept. Okay? So, what is a precept? That's the first thing I'd like you to have a think about. So, pause the screen and have a go at talking to a friend and into your book, writing down what you think a precept is and why Mr. Brown uses them in his class in the text. So, what is a precept and why does Mr. Brown use them in the text? You should be good at answering this question because in your diary entry you included Mr. Brown's precept, I hope. So, now you've come back to me, you've paused it, you've had a chat with your friend, you should know that a precept is, and I'll just turn our page, a precept is a motto or a rule to live by. Okay, so Mr. Brown introduces them to the class and he says that they're a motto or rule to live by. And the one that he talks about is kindness at first. But my first question to you here is have a look at this precept that he mentions later on. And this one is called Your Deeds Are Your Monuments. That's his precept. Okay, what do you think this means? Do you agree? Then I want you to have a think when you've paused. So you're going to pause this whilst you answer that question. Precepts are very important in Wonder. Why do you think this is? Okay, so first of all, when you pause it now, think about this precept, your deeds are your monuments, and discuss with a friend. What do you think it means? And you agree. And then, precepts are very important in Wonder. Why do you think this is? So, hopefully, you've had a conversation about your deeds are your monuments now and what you think it means. And I think that it means that the things that you do are like monuments. So, monuments are big statues that stay there forever. And the things that you do in life will stay there in people's minds forever often. So, you need to remember that. So, the good things that you do, people will remember. But also, some of the choices that you might make that are wrong, even though we try to forget them, sometimes we remember them. So, your deeds are your monuments. It's like encouraging you to do good things, isn't it? To do good deeds in your life, to make good choices in your life. So it's a nice precept. It's a nice motto to live by. Precepts are so important in Wonder. Why do you think this is? Well, I'm hoping that you've discussed the fact that it is a book that has lots of messages, and each of the messages is a positive message to live your life by. And we learn lots of different things. August learns lots of different things when he's in school, and so do the other characters. And the precepts help them to learn those things, don't they? So they are very important in Wonder. So now we know what precept is. We're going to look at the famous precept from the book so far. So the one that Mr. Brown writes the very first time August is in his class is this one here. When given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. Now, I'm really glad that this lesson popped up at the time that it did because you've just got back into class and you've just started a new half term, really, because obviously we've had lockdown. And um, this precept is a really good one for us all to follow our lives by, not just the children in Mr. Brown's class. So, when given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. So, what does that mean? So, around it, I've put some ideas about what it means. So, you never know what someone has been through. You should be kind if you can. If someone is wrong and you are mean about it, they might be afraid to ask a question again. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. If you act like you're always right, you'll never learn anything new. And no one likes big headedness, do they? So being kind can always be a good thing. So, this precept is a great precept to live by, and it's the one that Mr. Brown asks all the children to follow. And I think it's a great one for us to start this time with because it's a great one for our class, for both our classes to follow. So, when given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind is an amazing precept. And I think it's one that we'll take on board and use for the rest of the term. Okay? And kindness is going to be a bit of a theme that runs through our work and our half term. So, we'll remember that as we move on in the lesson. Okay, so that's the famous precept that we've seen so far in the book. Okay, so here's a precept that the author lives by. What do you think this one means? It's not enough to be friendly, you have to be a friend. So pause it and talk to a friend about what you think it might mean. Hi again. So hopefully you've unpaused now and we can have a little chat about this one. So it's not enough to be friendly, you have to be a friend. So being friendly could be just saying hello, saying thank you, showing your manners. You do that to everybody on, I'd hope. And I know that in Tesco's the other day when I was doing my shop before isolation, obviously I was friendly to the woman behind the desk. But to be a friend is a bit different. To be a friend, you have to be kind to that person. You have to give that person time. You have to listen to that person, don't you? So there's more to being a friend than just being friendly. So that's a great one as well. It's a great precept to live by. So in today's lesson, the first task you are going to do is create your own precept, okay? And then underneath it or around it, you're going to put an explanation of why your precept is really important, okay? You're going to make it your personal motto. It can be a song lyric, a quotation from a novel, a famous saying, or it can be something that you've chosen, you've made up yourself. There's some examples here. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Kind words do not cost much, yet they accomplish much. Keep calm and carry on. So you're going to choose or make up a precept and you are going to write it into your book, decorate it beautifully. Then underneath it or around it, you're going to explain what your precept means and how people can live by it. Okay? So just to help you, there's a few more examples on this page. You can have a little look at it, but some of them are, so for example, your deed to your monument. It's better to know some of the questions than all of the answers. What is beautiful is good, and who is good will soon be beautiful. So there's a few different examples of precepts there. Okay? But you could set it out like this, but beautifully decorate with bubble writing and write it beautifully in coloured pencils, your precept. And then around it with arrows, you could explain it like that. Or you could put a little paragraph underneath where you explain your precept. Okay? Finally, the final task of the day is given that our theme is going to be kindness, well, I found this kindness bingo and I really liked one of the choices. Well, I liked all of the choices on there, but I thought that the one that says send a card to a friend telling he or she why they are special to you was a lovely idea. So to end the lesson that's based around kindness, I'd like you to write a letter to a friend as suggested below, but you're going to do it in your book. And it's a bit of an informal letter. And I want you to think about what you might say to a friend to thank them. Okay? So here's an example. Dear Jane, I've made this friend up, but she sounds lovely. Thank you for being a wonderful friend. You light up a room with your smile, and this always makes me feel positive. Not only that, but you're such a good listener. I love the way you really take on board what I am saying and then give great advice too. Do you remember when I lost my purse? You spent all of your day off helping me to find it. I cannot thank you enough for the way you always have time for me. You are an amazing friend. Thank you, Sarah. So, the final task of the day is to write a thank you letter to one of your friends, thanking them for the ways that they are being kind. Because kindness is the theme of this lesson, as well as understanding what a precept is and why precepts are so important in our book. Okay, so just to recap, task one, you are coming up with your own precept and writing it beautifully under your date and wall in your book, colouring it, decorating it. Then you're going to explain what your precept means underneath in a paragraph or using arrows around it. And then finally, you are going to write a short ish letter to a friend thanking them for their kindness and their qualities of their kind qualities. Okay? So I think the last thing I want to say is that the theme of this half term will be based around that precept, that famous precept of kindness that's in our book. And also, I'd like you to take from this lesson the fact that precepts are very important in Wonder and that they'll be continued to be used throughout the book in order to help us, the readers, see how the characters act and see how the characters change and become different people almost. Okay, so have a lovely English lesson. Good luck with all those activities and always choose kind. Thanks, children.